the lost South African. Been at sea now 29 hours.
Go surfing this morning.
In the middle of the ocean. The nearest land is
You got a ladder?
a long way out.
Ladder? You're a machine! You're a machine! Oh my God!
Bring coming up the stairs right this second.
Roger, mate, if you're alive or dead?
Alive.
Fantastic,
Oh,
mate. All right,
you're what legends are made of.
On Ultra Simple Golf today, we're out at the beautiful Johannesburg Country Club, and we're very privileged to be joined by the man behind the Miracle at Sea, Brett Archibald. Brett, welcome to the show.
Hello, Don. Thank you very much for having me here. I'm very excited.
Well, it's just a fantastic opportunity for us to catch up with you. I mean, obviously your stories captivated the world's imagination, and you know, there's just so much talk out there about what you went through, and you know, to try and combine it with a bit of a golf experience today, you know, is a great opportunity for us. But to start off with, what sort of a person were you before this incident took place, business-wise, family-wise, social life?
Don, I'm a very fortunate man. I worked for many years for a company called RCI, the Timeshare Exchange Company. I ended up being managing director at one stage of RCI for Europe, Middle East, Africa, India, and Asia.
Wow.
We called it RCI Eurasia. It was a massive area, and I spent a lot of time in aeroplanes flying around. Actually lost focus on the family side of things, and you know, this event that's happened in my life has brought back the reality of how important my family is. You know, I was away on a plane Monday to Friday, and then I went on the surf trip, and I mean, for 28 hours swimming is a long time to think about what's priority in life, you know. But yeah, my life today is literally gone 180 degrees. I don't worry about the wrong things anymore. It's hard. I must say this, the disappearance of that Malaysian airline, that spun my head out completely, you know. 290 odd people on an airplane, 6 of the world's best navies, air forces, etc., and they can't find hide or hair of these people. And yet this crazy Captain Doris found this little bald head floating in this 200 kilometers of ocean.
That puts it in perspective, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. I'm very lucky. I've got a life coach that I've worked with since 1998. I wish I had a golf coach since 1998. My golf went from 9 handicap to 16, but my life's good, you know. I don't think I'll ever have all the answers.
Sure.
Just like golf, you know, you think you're cracking it and then suddenly a curveball comes along.
I think what we need to do now is to get out onto the driving range now, and we're going to have you hit a couple of shots, and then my dad is going to, you know, have a look at you in some very basic terms and try and give you a couple of fundamentals to work on.
Great.
And then we're going to address a couple of very key fundamentals of golf in order to be able to survive this game that we play.
Yeah.
And as we go along, it'd be love to get to the bottom of your ordeal. So let's go out there and have some
Great.
fun.
I look forward to it. I don't think I've ever had a golf lesson in my life, so this is going to be interesting.
Fantastic. Excellent.
Cool.
Let's do it.
Okay, fantastic. Brett, that's very impressive. We've been totally enthralled with the story of your 28 hours in the ocean.
Yeah.
I'm hopefully going to enthrall you for a couple of minutes on how to get a game going without too much swing thought. Now, the swing here is very, very impressive, but off camera, you hit a couple very heavy.
Yeah.
Now, in a nutshell, all you're doing basically with your long game is you're not rotating. Now, you had a back problem and you broke your neck, apparently. Not in the incident, but prior to that.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know, I saw you warming up and you rotated beautifully on your pre-shot routine. When you got to the ball itself, you don't turn, you move laterally. And I'm talking big time.
Yeah.
Now, the minute you move off the ball to the right, obviously the bottom of your arc, which is the ball, moves to the right.
Yeah.
So if the bottom of your arc is right of the ball, that's where the club's going to hit the ball, because the club enters the ground at the bottom of any given arc.
Yeah.
That's how important it is to rotate. A lot of guys maintain that you've got to load your right side. I don't agree with that at all. So all I want you to do, just stand here and cross your chest with the club, like that. Bend over as if you're going to hit the ball. Now just immediately turn your right shoulder behind your neck and point that. Unbelievable. Now you can see your right hip or your weight is now inside your right leg. When you actually hit, you'll see it on a before and after, you move nearly 6 to 8 inches onto your right side.
Wow.
Now by moving laterally, you cut out your power source, which are the legs, because it's like the analogy in a sprint, say, you're starting a 100-meter dash from here and your opponents are starting the same race from here.
Yeah.
You've got to recover the upper body to get inside your right leg to push off. Well, your rhythm is great, but you've got so much movement off the ball, it's a complete lottery to get the club back to the ball. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Now just take a couple of swings without the ball. Now try and simulate the same thing. Imagine me shooting you in the right shoulder with a 45 Magnum. Your right shoulder goes straight back.
Straight back,
It
yeah.
doesn't go to the right at all. Now just turn immediately. Now go. Unbelievable. Now one other thing, because you move laterally, you can't move your legs. So the only way you can get back to the ball is by initiating the downswing with your upper body. That's why you're hitting again very fat.
Okay.
Now all I want you to do is to now rotate immediately around your axis or your spine, and instead of starting down with your hands, try and get your weight onto the left foot. Try and get your belly button pointing at target. Just get to the top of the backswing and stop. Now pull your belly button to target, go. There's your golf swing. Simple as that.
Yeah, but would I have hit the ball?
Well, we'll see. You'll get the shock of your life. I'm almost, it's not going to happen in one shot.
Yeah.
But I'm prepared to guarantee you that that pull left disappears immediately. Because that's your bad shot, isn't it?
Yeah.
There it is. You see, you're coming over it. So any genius knows, hang on, Brett, you're coming over the top. We're here to tell you why.
Okay.
And the reason is because you're moving laterally, as simple as that. By moving laterally, you nullify your legs. By nullifying your legs, your upper body is dominant. The minute your upper body is dominant, you're over the top. It's as simple as that.
I'm with you.
It is as simple as that.
Try and put it in practice.
Now what I want to do, I'm just going to cheat here. I'm just going to put a couple of balls, not a big, there. Now just have a couple of practice swings away from the ball. Now turn and stop. And pull your hips, go. Now you're going to see the before and after, you're not going to believe it. We've eradicated, I haven't touched you in the 5 minutes I've been talking, we've eradicated this much movement on your backswing. You're going to improve out of all recognition. Off you go. Now turn and start with the hips. Now look at the strike.
That was great.
By the way,
That felt good.
by the way, where's the divot?
There isn't one.
I haven't touched you. You were a great hitter of a golf course 10 minutes ago. Now you're hitting the ball, not the golf course. Absolutely brilliant. Now to the viewer, I just want to make one point here. When you're experimenting or trying something new with your swing, don't look for a good lie. Actually peg the ball up, because all you're trying to do is get a bit of confidence. This is what you do on a practice tee. You experiment and build up confidence.
Okay.
Now the last tip here, when you're on the golf course, Brett, if you've got trouble left, the good players don't go through 100 swing thoughts. They say, hang on, there's trouble left, how do I block the left side of the golf course out? And again to you and the viewer, it's so simple, it's a joke. Once I've completed my turn to here, if my left hip pulls my left hand past my chin, just look at that position.
Yeah.
How can I hit the ball left? It's impossible.
Yeah.
The only reason why you're pulling it, and you'll see it on camera, is that your upper body is moving here through the ball.
Okay.
Now, if I push my head to the left, look where my shoulders are, they're aiming left. I push my head back to the ball, my shoulders are square. When I was a young man, my dad had a gimmick. He'd just hold a shaft against my left ear and told me to imagine that was a cattle prodder. If I moved 1 millimeter, I'd get a belt. And I've never ever forgotten that. Every drill I do, I cock my head to the right. Nicholas was a great exponent of this. His initiation of the backswing, he cocked his head to the right, turned, which gives him a fuller turn, and he stayed there through impact. When you see pictures of Nicholas at impact, the head is actually looking right. That's why he never ever pull hooked the ball under pressure, ever. Try it. Now keep your head static. Turn and pull the hips. Absolutely brilliant. See what happens. One point I want to make here, again you'll see it on camera, that every now and again you hit the ball on the head, you will see that your feet are very dead. Again, because you're throwing the hands at the ball. I do it with a lot of my pupils. I film them without a ball. And you see they flow beautifully onto the left side. The minute the ball's there, we stop using our legs. We start using our hands.
Yeah.
Again, because of one simple fact. The club hits the ball. Your last tangible contact with that club are your hands. That is the biggest killer in golf. Your brain, not you, every golfer alive, at the top of the backswing, instinctively wants to hit with the hands. Doesn't work. You've got to get from here, pull the hips, the upper body will follow. Get onto your left foot. You can't hit better than that.
No, I certainly, I didn't even feel like I hit it.
That's the point.
Just beautiful.
Well, what do you know, Jay? We're back talking about Tailor Made and some more fantastic equipment that they've got coming out of their stable again, and it looks like they've gone with the white stuff again.
Yes.
What are your thoughts?
Well, Don, you know, when you think about Tailor Made, the white driver is synonymous with Tailor Made. I mean, they were the first guys to bring out a white driver. Last year, they brought out a more traditional looking club in the SLDR standard. It came out in a cobalt color, done very, very well, got a 5-star rating from the Golf Digest Hot List. So all in all, a great club. They thought there was a place to make a more traditional looking club, because, you know, sometimes good players or certain players just don't like dealing with the white. But there's one good thing about a white driver over and above a dark colored driver. Two things. Most important thing is that when you put it down, both drivers, if you have a black driver and a white driver, the white driver, even if it's the same capacity in terms of head size, 460 cc's, let's say, the white driver will show up with a bigger footprint. Just optically, when you put it down, that is unbelievable. So what does that do? It gives you tremendous confidence when you put it down. So you feel, geez, this driver is much bigger, and you're going to hit the ball. You know, you're not going to miss the ball, which is the most important thing. And then the other thing is, when they put the black face, the top of the head is white. Essentially, what happens is it frames the ball better. Sometimes when you put dark drivers down, you can't really see where the club face is aiming. So when you've got the white head with the black face, when you line up the black face, it allows you to see where, if you're aiming left or aiming right, which is really good. So essentially, it's exactly the same driver as last year. You'll notice on the bottom the same 20-gram sliding weight. There's 12 different settings. Also has the various settings in the neck. So the whole thing about this driver, and I think it's worked tremendously well, is the fact that it comes off hot. Guys are hitting it much further. They've moved the center of gravity forward in the head, which is very, very important in order to create overspin. The only thing that they didn't do initially is they made the driver with only 9.5 and 10.5. These modern drivers, the new range of SLDR, and there's a new range called the SLDR-S, which stands for silver, is going to come in a 12, 14 and 16 degree loft. So that makes a big difference. When you put it down now and you feel like, geez, I'm really hitting this 10.5 well, but I'm getting no flight out of it, when they fit you with a 14 degree, it's going to fly like a 3 wood, but go as far as a driver. And that's what you really need. So the limited edition white, I think, is going to sell very well. There's only a few of them, so if anybody wants one, they need to get down to our stores right away. And the other amazing club that they've brought out is the SLDR Mini. It comes in a 12 and a 14 degree loft. Essentially what it is, it's a strong 3-wood. So for the guys who struggle with the driver, they struggle with the length of the driver, they struggle with the size of the head. You know, sometimes when the guys put it down, they just feel that the head size is just too big to make contact with. You know, so they say, geez, I don't know how I'm going to get this back. How am I going to get it back on plane? And they're confident with their 3-wood, this is the club for them. It's got slightly longer than a 3-wood, smaller than your driver, but bigger than your 3-wood. So perfect for driving. And when the ball's lying really flush, really nicely on the fairway, you know, Akaku fairways in summer, the ball can lie very nicely. So once you've got a decent lie, you can take this off the fairway. Second shots to par 5s, especially on tight hole. So if you're struggling with your driver, the SLDR Mini is an absolute must. Absolute must. I think it's a great idea, and you know we sold them very, very well, waiting for a new shipment to arrive. And as soon as they arrive again, we're gonna have plenty stock. But I think the guys are gonna do very well with this because it's in a niche part of the market. Nobody's really thought of this, so I think they've done well.
I love it. They're thinking about getting people in the fairways more consistently, and that's how people enjoy golf. Thanks,
Absolutely.
Jay.
Thanks, Tom.
On this week's Echelon Did You See That Moment, we take a look back to the 1999 US Open at Pinehurst No. 2. The late Payne Stewart came to the 18th hole, needing to hold a 15-foot putt uphill for his first US Open title, which he duly made, to deny Phil Mickelson his first title. An incredible moment in golf. Okay, Brett, some really simple fundamentals there. How did that go for you there? Do you feel like you learned something?
Definitely. It's just so amazing how, when I get it right, it doesn't even feel like I'm hitting a ball, and it goes exactly where you want it to.
Well, that's the whole
I wish
point
I could
now.
do it all the time.
Well, you will, and the more simple it is like that, the easier it is to apply. Now we're on to the short game. We're going to give you some more very simple fundamentals to help you be more consistent, but this is really where you make your money in the game. And you know, I'm looking forward to see what my dad, you know, gives you now to help you get those up and down when you do occasionally miss the green. All right.
Very often. Not the best part of my game.
Right, Brett, I've just seen that. I can see you petrified of the shot, am I right?
Petrified.
Okay.
Petrified. I have no clue where it's going.
Now, what is going through your brain when you hit that ball? You're trying to get the ball up in the air, correct?
Yep.
Over this bit of fairway, pitch and then stop. So what are you trying to do with that club? You're trying to get it under the ball.
Yeah.
That's not what happens. It's the complete opposite. You are trying, you can see it, off your back foot, trying to get the club under the ball to lift it up. It's the exact opposite. You've got to deliver the downward blow to hit the ball up in the air. So what takes place here, to both you and the viewer, this club does not go under and lift. It actually descends, it travels down. As it travels down, it catches the ball first. The ball then goes up the club face into the grooves. That's what causes the spin. Now, if your club is traveling up,
Can never do that.
you're going to hit the ball in the equator and thin it. You haven't hit the ball, you know, clean once. It's all in the guts going up because all your weight's on the back foot. The first thing we do here is very simply put all your weight on the left foot. Get the ball, it defies logic,
I've
but
never
this is what
ever been
happens.
told it,
All your weight on the left foot. Now push your left hand over your left knee. Now you can now see that the bottom of my arc is in front of the ball. In other words, here. Brilliant. Now if I just work with my shoulders, again, there are no hands at all. If I just work with my shoulders with no wrist cock, just physics now, from here, and just gently pull back with my shoulders, you can now see the club is traveling down, but the club is entering the ground just after the ball, which means I'm taking the ball first. By taking the ball first, the ball then rolls up the club face into the grooves, causing your check. Simple. But again, it defies logic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, again, a quick analogy. You get a little girl or boy, a toddler, on a tennis court with a tennis racket, and there's a ball lying there. What do you see them do to try and pick the ball up? They try and push the racket under the
Underneath,
ball. Doesn't work.
Yeah.
The pro comes along and taps the ball, it starts bouncing, that's it. The same principle here. You cannot scoop this club under the ball. It's physically impossible. Look at that flange.
Yeah.
so it doesn't work. So what happens, again, if your weight is on the left foot, you now hit down. If your weight is on the left foot and you now move your shoulders through the ball, you can't stop. So what part do your hands play? Absolutely zero. Now all I want you to do is literally set yourself up now, if you would, there. Get rid of that little rock. Now put the ball a little bit back in your stance. Now sit 100% on your left foot, get your left hand further forward. Now just with your shoulders, no wrist cock at all, just have a couple of swings. Back and through, no wrists, nothing. Stay on your left foot. I want you staying on your left foot and hit down with your left hand, down. Look here. You're now hitting the ball first, then the divot, down. Brilliant. Now just try one. Now ignore the ball. Just get onto your left foot, and another trick I use here is imagine hitting my foot with your left hand. You're not going to hurt me. Stay on your left side. Now just hit my foot with your left hand. Go. Keep going. Back. Go. Down. 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 Now you're hitting the ball first, then the divot. Just believe that on one shot and see what happens. Now the ball doesn't exist. Hit down and through with your left hand. Stay on your left foot. Boom. Now hang on. Now again, you're still flicking a bit with your right hand. Okay, not bad. But now the ball's getting up in the air with a bit of check. Now don't stop on it and try and get your left hand way in front of the ball right through the shot. No right hand. Hit down. Boom. Can you see it starting to try and check now? Unbelievable.
I can't believe this.
Now go through the ball, through it with the shoulders. Brilliant. You see, another thing here that's very important, that if you swing short, your brain knows you've got to accelerate, you start jabbing.
Yeah.
All the great chippers, you see they take the club back, especially Mickelson, an awful long way. So the momentum of the club coming back, you just help that on its way. Now just relax, take the club back further and hit down smoothly.
No.
Okay, now that's all right.
I'm stopping, I can feel it, yeah.
Now you see my shadow here, got it? Hit that with your left hand. Just ignore the ball completely. That's it. Now don't throw your right hand, there's no wrist at all. You're completely locked. Just work from the shoulders like that's it. Now hit, now go. Now hit the ball. Now just think of nothing else but hitting my shadow with your left hand. Boom. Did you see it check?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Just look at the stop.
Yep. Jeez, I'm going to be at home on the driving range all weekend now.
Well, you won't believe how you improve. You see, the minute you've got the feeling, and this is why this is the first department of the game that goes. If you haven't got the right technique, this catches up with you very quickly. Now through. Brilliant. Have a look now.
Yep.
Absolutely brilliant.
Join us again next week where we'll help Brett with his bunker play.